Hi, and this is the 11-1 Check Your Understanding. It's in your textbook on page. I should have had that ready. Let's see, it is on page 38 in your Springboard book. And it's number 15 is where we're starting. Find the slope and y-intercept for each of the following. Remember to use the ratio change in y over change in x. So I'm going to scoot this up just a little bit. As I'm looking, I need to find some really good points. Well, right there is where the graph crosses the y-intercept. I'm sorry, the y-axis. So that is our y-intercept, which is at 0, 0. Now I need to look for another good point. As I'm looking, it looks like this is another good point right here. And if I go from my y-intercept up, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I go over 1. So 3 over 1 is going to be my slope. For B looks a little trickier, but I do see where the graph crosses my y-axis at -1, so 0, -1 is my y-intercept. And if I look, here's another good point. So it looks like I have to go down 1, 2, and to the right 1. So that's -2 over 1 is going to be my slope for B. Now C, I don't have any graph to go by. But I do have a y-intercept, which is 0, 0. This looks like my y-intercept here because x is 0. That's how I know. In fact, I can go right over to D and tell you this is my y-intercept here, which is 0, 2. But now it looks like when I go from 0 to 1, I only go up 2.5. So my instinct is to say 2.5 over 1. But remember, I don't want to have a fraction, which, this is 2.5. So if I go up 2, it looks like really my slope, this one's complicated, is really 5 over 2 because we don't want to have fractions in our denominator. When I look over here, when I go up 1, I went up on the y 2. So it looks like if I go, or I'm sorry, I went down. I went from 4 to 2, so I went down 2 and I went to the right 1. So that's going to be my slope for this one. Now it says look back at item 12 would point P. So item 12, before we get going, let me give a sketch for item 12. I'm going to do that at the bottom here. Sketch for item 12 is that I have these two triangles, like one inside the other, where this is W, this is V, and this is Z. And this is 3, this out here is 6, and this is 10, and this is 5. And now it's saying there's another point P that is 9 units up from W. So here, if I go all the way up here, this is 9 units. That is the worst bracket ever. So I would go up here to 9 and over, I guess my point B is going to be out here. $15 units to the right. So that would be 9 over 15. So is that congruent to 3 over 5? It is, because if I reduce 9 by 3 and 15 by 3, that gives me 3 over 5. So it's proportional, it's a similar triangle, and I'm done. Now 16 says John is longboarding at a constant rate down the road. If after 2 minutes he leaves his house, he's 1,000 feet away, and at 5 minutes he is 2,500 feet away, what would his average rate of change be? Well, I can subtract one from the other here. If I take the change in speed and I subtract the hours here, I will get 1,500 over 3. Well, that reduces, oh, we got an announcement this morning.
Attention students, at this time we need all 7th grade students to report to the gymnasium. 7th grade students only, please report immediately to the gymnasium.
And that would be my slope.